Hi guys, it's your buddy Icarus. Welcome back to yet another vlog. Today I wanted to talk about non-marketable skills. Why would I want to talk about those? Because we all have them. And they're worth recognizing even if we can't really do anything with them in society. I myself, my knowledge, have 3 of them. And even within the fact that they're not useful for any profitable gain, they're still kind of can be categorized between whether they genuinely are useless or whether they're useful and society just does not recognize them. I mean, 2 out of my 3 are completely useless. I mean, one is I have very, very good posture. And I mean, that doesn't sound like a skill on the forefront, but the skill part of that is that I can balance nearly anything on my head and still walk without it falling. It's like, there are people who talk about that, like when they see me do it at random just because I casually goof off by doing so. There are people who talk about it like it is some kind of super amazing talent that they don't understand how I can manage it. And it's like, just good posture, man. There's no way to market that skill because there's no real solid use for it anywhere. I can't see the future or anything, but I don't predict there being any time in my life where it'll be more important that I carry something balanced on my head than actually holding it in my hands, which gives a much more stable grip on it. Another one. I mean, I can only talk about mine. Feel free to feel free to fill the comment section below with talk about your own non-marketable skills if you guys want to. But the other non-marketable skill of mine that I can decisively say fits in the completely useless category is twirling things. Give me a long, slender object, baton, stick, mini baseball bat, and I can get it spinning at a pretty high pace, still maintain control over it, until someone else in the nearby area starts worrying about me dropping it. It's like their stress and concern is contagious, and when they worry about me dropping it, that's when I screw up and drop it, and it goes flying because of how fast I had it spinning. Again, I cannot see any point in my life where that has or ever will be useful. For that matter, I can't see any point in anyone's life where that has or will be useful. I mean, electricity is made by spinning turbines in certain cases, but those are very large, very heavy objects spinning, and even if the whole process could be miniaturized, I don't think that even as fast as I can manage to spin things will generate enough power to be worth anything. Now, the last one of my own non-marketable skills is the one I wanted to focus on, because the other 2, they were just kind of like natural-born talents that they're useless. They're neat, but they're useless. And I didn't have to work for them either. The last one was taught to me, and I'm actually very thankful. As much trouble as it's caused me, I'm very thankful that it was taught to me by Darth Ma in the other room. It's critical thinking. I'm thankful she raised me to think carefully about everything and analyze evidence, even if she's regretting it now as she gets older and can't keep up with it anymore. I think it's the cause of 90% of the time she yells at me. Yeah. So, what's so great about critical thinking, and why doesn't society recognize it? Well, I'll answer the second question of those first because it's a lot easier. Society wants obedience, and critical thinking does not combine well with blind obedience, because if you're given an order that doesn't make sense, whether it's because it's flat out wrong or because there might be a better way of doing things, if you're a critical thinking kind of person, when you're given that order, you're going to turn around and ask why. Or you're going to turn around with a suggestion of what might be better for getting the task done. And people do not like being told they are wrong. Whether they like being wrong or not, like me, I really do like being wrong because I get to learn new things from when I'm wrong. Whereas if I'm right, let's just, yeah, Icarus, you're right. Shut up. But people don't like, whether they like being wrong or not, so they can learn new things, or just don't like being wrong at all, nobody likes being told they're wrong, especially by someone they view as inferior, whether it's you being a lower pay grade or lower rank or whatever. Nobody likes being told they're wrong. That's why you're told, don't argue with your managers, don't argue with your teachers, don't argue with this, that. Pretty much any person in any position of authority, even slightly higher than yourself. Because nobody likes being told they're wrong, and the people in authority can find loopholes to get you in trouble just for telling them they were wrong and questioning their authority. It's not right, but that's how it is, and it's actually kind of a shame that society does not recognize critical thinking as the talent that it is, because of the fact that if everybody thought critically, now I'm getting to the first question, why it's a useful skill, why is it an important skill? If the whole world, every person in the world took evidence before their own personal beliefs and thought carefully about everything that comes into their lives. Shadow came to interrupt. What we would end up having would be some kind of utopia. I mean, it wouldn't be perfect, because everybody has their own opinions, even after they've carefully analyzed the evidence. Everybody has their own opinions, so it's not going to be perfect for everybody. But what it would be a society where everything makes sense. Nothing is just blindly rooted in tradition of, oh, we always did it that way, so let's keep doing it that way. Everything would be analyzed to make sure that we have a sensible society, that we elect leaders who are giving us sensible, practical goals. But society doesn't like critical thinkers. And older generations of people, as they get older, don't like critical thinkers that much either, because of the fact that critical thinkers force them to keep thinking as their faculties are going. I mean, it's not really their fault. They might not even have Alzheimer's. It might just be slowing down a bit, because as you get older, things slow down even without there being a degenerative disease at present. And if things slow down, they can't keep up with the younger generation doing the same thing that they did, just analyzing all the traditions that they were raised with, analyzing all the beliefs they were raised with. People don't like it. People don't like being told they're wrong. People don't like being questioned. But it's important that the questions be asked. It's important for society to move forward, that people keep thinking carefully, people keep taking evidence first, then making their conclusions from there, rather than taking their beliefs and using them to taint the evidence, to bend them to their bias. I was in a class once called Interpersonal Communications that made a very clear point of this. That the class itself didn't. The different takes of various students in the class pertaining to one very specific assignment did this. For one of our assignments, we were told, for homework, we couldn't do it in class because it was a week-long assignment. It was time-based. We had to spend a week identifying people that we see, not with what labels society has taught us, not with what labels we had already previously got ingrained into our memories and behaviors, but seeing them, just saying, that's a person. And then from there, taking in the details of that person and building our conclusion from there rather than seeing a person with long red hair, a slender build, dressed nicely, and like, that is a nice lady. No, that is a person, and then we take in all the features individually and maybe get to know the person's name even. Oh my goodness, what a remarkable idea. Just get to know people and things before you draw the conclusion. And that assignment, there were some people, the people who were raised by their parents to be critical thinkers, took that assignment to heart very keenly and jumped right into it, were happy to do so. And then there were those who who flat out refused to do that assignment, saying, "You're trying to train us to think like robots." And to some extent, yes, but no, because it's the exact opposite, because society has already trained us with these labels that we apply to things, like calling that woman a slut because she's dressed in skimpy clothing. No, just call her a person and then get to know her, find out what she actually is, what she actually does. So yeah, if anything, it was deprogramming us back to our basics, back to essentially factory default if we were in computer terminology, and then letting us build our own conclusions and our own labels from there, whether we readopt some of the ones we used before or not. And that assignment actually helped me get better at critical thinking and carefully examining my life. But yeah, there were the people who said, "I'm not doing that, that's trying to make us robots." And it's like, no, it's trying to do the opposite. Society has already made you a robot. Society has already trained you, all of their labels, all of their prejudices. And if you look beyond that, there is a much wider and more beautiful world to see. I hope some of you guys found this video interesting. I'm sorry it wasn't as funny or as most of my others, but it's just a topic I wanted to bring up. That's it for now. Have a nice day.